welcome to the Motion Picture Notion. Just recently, I was, I'm going to Monster Mania 39 in New Jersey. It's actually, like, really the closest of any, like, horror movie convention that I know that I can go to, because horror movies are my freaking favorite. And I got in touch with A. Michael Baldwin, one of the actors from Phantasm, who's very gracious to all of his fans. He's a pretty awesome dude. You know, trying to see if I could get him to come. And he said, you know, basically just extend the invitation, or, you know, like, get in contact with the coordinator, and they send us an invitation, we'll accept, and we'll go. And I was like, oh, fucking A, you know. So I did. I reached out to Monster Mania, and fingers crossed that the Phantasm cast, the remaining Phantasm cast, you know, unfortunately Angus Scrim is no longer with us, but hopefully the remaining Phantasm cast can make it this year, if not next year. But, you know, we'll see how that plays out. At any rate, I want to do a video on the fifth and final Phantasm movie. Fifth and final Phantasm movie. See that 5 times real fast. Yeah, no, it was pretty good. You may recall a video that I did, Phantasm the Fourth, a lot earlier last year, where I talked about what was my favorite of the sequels in the Phantasm series, because it kind of brought it all back to the beginning and stuff. Ever since high school, all right, now I graduated in 2004. Ever since high school, we were waiting for a fifth Phantasm movie, because the first time that we watched Oblivion, we were like, dude, it can't end that way, you know? Like, what the fuck happened? What is this? Is it a dream? Did you know, is it another reality? Like, you know, like, we had no idea what to make of it. This movie, Phantasm RaVager, Phantasm 5 RaVager, didn't come out until 2016. Now, Phantasm Oblivion came out in 1998. Okay, so this fucking movie was like 18 years in the making. It's kind of insane, you know, but we'd all but given up hope that they were even going to make the damn thing. So they got a new director. Don Coscarelli directed the first 4 movies, and they got this new guy. Now, he had worked with Don Coscarelli before on John Dies at the End, which was also another really cool, weird-ass Don Coscarelli sci-fi horror weird-ass movie. So, I mean, it's not like this guy was like a complete stranger to fans, but nevertheless, there was some, like, skepticism. It's like, okay, well, you know, is he gonna get it right? Is he gonna, like, understand Phantasm, you know? Like, did Don Coscarelli, you know, pass the torch to another fucking, like, Akiva Goldsmith? Like, I really fucking hope not, you know? So, my buddy Kev bought it on digital the day that it came out, and we were fucking stoked. We watched it through to the end, and it was really good. It was really good. But I will say that I sort of look at it almost like fan fiction. Excuse me. I look at it as fan fiction primarily because we'd really gotten so used to there just being the 4 movies, and sometimes when I watch it, I just pretend that it ends where Phantasm Oblivion ends with, I mean, doesn't really give anything away, but just an ice cream truck driving off into the night and disappearing into the dark. Like, it was so cool, and it was really just Phantasm. It really brought the story full circle. And even though you don't really know what happens, it's Phantasm. You don't really know what's going on half the time anyway, you know? But there were still a lot of questions left to be answered, you know, or potentially answered, like what the hell happened to Jebediah Morningside when he went to the Red Planet? Like, what did he find there? You know, what is Mike's connection with him? Like, how is it that Jebediah Morningside seems to have known Mike, like in another life or reality or something like that? And what I will say is, while Phantasm RaVager doesn't answer any questions like what happens to Jebediah Morningside when he goes to the Red Planet, it does involve a plot that explains a lot, if not all, of the inconsistencies in previous Phantasm movies. You still don't quite know his origins, which is cool. They kept it really Phantasm. There was one thing that they alluded to in the movie in one very brief scene, that Jebediah Morningside and the tall man, they are kind of one, but there was something that they kind of alluded to, that it might not actually be him, it might be something else controlling him. And then they just kind of didn't go anywhere with it, and I think that was like my biggest problem with the movie. But the idea that they went with, and even like the two realities that sort of converged on one another in the story, really cool, really brilliant. It put a whole new spin on the Phantasm series, and it kind of made this one was like a little bit more like about Reg, you know what I mean? Like it was less about Mike and it was more about Reg, which is cool because he's, you know, a lot of people's favorite character. Yeah, the movie was great. It was very low budget, like you could tell, like some of the effects were a little, you know, but like it wasn't bad, but it did kind of look like, you know, somebody like a college student had maybe edited it on like Final Cut Pro or something. You know, again, not bad, and I'm totally not complaining. And they really upped like the epic factor, believe it or not, too. It was actually, I mean, I would say like next to Phantasm 2 in terms of like how epic it was and how big they went with it. You know, and even, you know, trying to stay away from spoilers as much as I can, but, you know, like even the fact that in this one they do go into the Red Planet. They actually like go into the Red Planet after the Tall Man, which is something that's just unheard of in a Phantasm movie, and it was really cool. You know, it was a really cool idea. They dabbled with a lot of things. It had a lot of the, like, all the characters were like spot on, you know, like it was as though they never left. Like Reggie was fun to watch. They got the humor, they got the weirdness, you know, they got the strange, just disjointed, I don't know, premise that is Phantasm. They really did nail it. But it is kind of unique from all the others. I can't quite put my finger on what it is. Maybe it is just like how low budget it is. But I also think that it's because it wasn't directed by Don Coscarelli. Again, this dude totally understood Phantasm, the guy who directed it, and he did an amazing job, and Don Coscarelli was on board. He was like an executive producer. So it's not like this movie was in the hands of strangers. These were like trusted people. But there was just something about it that was a little bit different. And this probably isn't a popular opinion, but I kind of like to just pretend sometimes, particularly when I'm watching Phantasm Oblivion, I like to pretend like, okay, this is where it ends, and you can kind of just guess what happens after that. Although, having seen RaVager, going back and watching Phantasm Oblivion and all the other ones now, a lot of shit makes a lot more sense. So I really can't, like, you know, I'm not, like, when I say fan fiction, when I say it's like fan fiction, I'm not dissing the movie at all. It was really, really good. See, here's the thing. I don't think that any Phantasm movie is bad. I think that they're all great in kind of different ways, and I think that this movie stuck to that tradition. So it is a welcome addition to the series, and you know what, man? Hey, fucking 18 years later, not better late than never. Like, I'm really happy that we got to see it. It was really cool, you know, going out there on the road with the Hemi-Cuda for one last ride with our buddies Mike, Reg, and Jody. That's all I wanted to say. Really, nothing too crazy. Just wanted to say that I like Phantasm, and, you know.